The red, the tune, the cat, weather.
It is. Thankfully, the rain has just stopped across Teesside, but a band of rain, heavy in places, will move through the morning. Clouds going to break up, though, as the day progresses, especially for eastern parts with sunny spells developing through the day. Maximum temperatures, it's getting chillier now. We enjoyed the delights of 13 Celsius over the weekend. 10 degrees tonight. Winds will ease overnight. Minimums 6 degrees Celsius. That's not great, really, is it?
From Yarm to Yibby, Harrington to Horsley Hill, Swarwell to Silverlink. The North East Footy Breakfast with Roy, Steve and Ted.
Right across the North East, the red, the tune and the cat.
What a good morning, gentlemen. How are you? Wow.
Let them have his minutes.
How two-faced.
I know. Just let him have his minutes. He'll calm down in a second. Yeah. Are you done?
I never doubted him. I never
Really?
wrote him off.
Really?
Lies.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Sorry, mate. We've all got the podcast from Friday's show. Don't worry. It's all right.
If anybody wants to hear what Rye really felt about Middlesbrough and Dave and Daz, tune in to Friday's episode and see how
the only ones that give them the lickings
really
are.
A wounded animal will lash out. Go on, guys. Have a go.
I'm not wounded.
Morning, you beautiful men on a Monday morning. Good morning to all my Middlesbrough folk out there listening on the North East Brekky show. Good morning to each and every one of you. It is a beautiful Monday morning, crisp, fine, and that's just my headline. I tell you, it is fantastic
Your
day
hairline.
today. Yeah, it's good actually. It's nice and thick.
Okay.
I was just trying to go with something on rhyme, to be honest with you, Dave, and I lost track of what I was saying.
Okay.
It's been a big weekend. We have got lots to talk about, and I mean lots. There's a lot still going on for Middlesbrough. There's a lot going on for Sunderland. There was a game for Newcastle as well. A little bit going off the pitch there as well. A lot to talk about for our three North clubs this morning. But what a win for the Borough. And Sunderland, unfortunately, losing to Mogga's men as well. Rumours flying around this morning, and that Hume incident, we will discuss that in depth with Teddy Boy. And then we got Steve, obviously, to talk to us about that late draw that they rescued against Bournemouth, thanks to Matt Ritchie, one of my all-time favourites. We'll get into all that and more on the Northeast this morning. We've also got to talk about everything that's happened over the weekend, lads. It's been a big one. Middlesbrough have got a protest coming this weekend. We're going to talk about that and what that means for our club, the timing of it all. We saw David Moyes come out and say that it's the best West Ham have ever been and ever had under him right now, criticising fans that he might be boring, but at least he gets the wins. Well done, David Moyes, sticking it to the man there as well. Jermaine Defoe is releasing a documentary on his career as well. So I'm going to talk to the lads about Jermaine Defoe. I'm actually really looking forward to that, especially getting Ted's view on that. Obviously, his relationship with Bradley Lowry was a shining light that I felt grabbed the country. And we're going to talk about Luka Modric potentially retiring as well. One of the fantastic midfielders at Real Madrid. All that and a lot more coming up on your Northeast Brekky show for your Monday morning. It's a big one. It's a good one. It's a lovely one. Borough have beaten Leicester. Oh my goodness me. I knew it, Borough fans. I knew it. I felt it in my loins. Last week's podcasts have been unfortunately disappeared as well. This is a quick one. Anyone trying to look for last week's podcast, they have actually, unfortunately due to system error, been deleted, especially Friday's show. Nice. But all I can tell you that what happened on Friday.
I'm looking at the IP address of the hacker, and it looks like it's somebody on towards the east coast of Australia.
That's why I download all the shows. Yeah. I download all the shows, so they'll be now going on NFC Matters. And
it's not like somebody from Australia to commit a crime, is it?
What a shock that was. What a result. Let's get into some club headlines. We got Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough club headlines for your Monday morning. What's making news? Pay close attention to the Sunderland ones this morning. My goodness me.
You want me to go straight into them, dear? You're right up. Okay.
Are you going to do that to me?
And proud. Borough News.
Good morning, you Borough beautiful human beings. Middlesbrough have won. Incredibly, in true Middlesbrough fashion, heading to Leicester City, Borough were seemingly down and out. With sales of important players and a season ticket increase, it all seemed doom and gloom at the Borough. But somebody tried telling that to the squad on the weekend. Borough dug deep and counter-attacked to perfection, scoring twice in the first half to everyone's shock, including this man right here. Sammy Silvera producing his best game in a Borough shirt, and Lewis O'Brien reminding everyone, here I am. It was fantastic, breathtaking and emotional. Even before kickoff, Borough were brought more bad news with the knee injuries to Johnny Howson and Hayden Hackney. Michael Carrick stating both knee scans and it doesn't look good. But this didn't seem to change the current squad led by shock captain Paddy McNair. Borough seemed to find a way. Carrick found a way, and my goodness, it was delicious. Sadly, Middlesbrough have also had to release a statement confirming they are investigating an alleged incident of racism from a supporter in the away end at Leicester City's King Power Stadium. Celebrations have been somewhat marred by the video circulating around on social media in the aftermath, which appears to show one Borough fan making a racist gesture towards Leicester City supporters. Stamp it out. And finally, a big discussion topic that we'll talk about. The Red Faction, a key supporter group of Borough's, have stated they plan to leave the ground at this weekend's match against Plymouth. The Red Faction released a statement that in protest to the increase to the cost of season ticket prices, they will be walking out of the Riverside at the 30-minute mark this weekend. That's your Borough headlines. We beat Leicester. Come on!
Magpies and Proud. Mags News.
Newcastle United will tell Manchester United they won £15 million to release Dan Ashworth from his 20-month gardening leave period to become the new sporting director at Old Trafford. Ashworth told his bosses at Newcastle on Sunday he wanted to leave the club after the approach by Sir Jim Ratcliffe to move to Manchester United, and Newcastle responded by placing Ashworth on gardening leave. The Times newspaper also reported that Newcastle officials, furious at the manner of Manchester United's approach for Ashworth, immediately blocked any access that the 52-year-old had to the club's computer programmes and scouting reports. Ashworth's gardening leave will last for 20 months unless Ratcliffe can broker a peace deal and a compensation figure to commence his employment for 2025. £50 million would be an unprecedented figure for a director of football, and sources say that without an agreement, Newcastle's anger is such that they are prepared to bide their time and let Ashworth wait for more than a year and a half on gardening leave before he can begin the new role at his new club. Another goal feast at Gallagher on Saturday left Newcastle unbeaten in 4 Premier League games, but needing to come from behind to claim a point with an Anthony Gordon penalty and Matt Ritchie's first Premier League goal since 2020 grabbing a share of the spoils. In addition to the first team, Newcastle's under-18 and under-21 sides both had fixtures at home on Saturday, kicking off simultaneously at 1 o'clock. The under-18s lost 2-1 at home to Derby, with Joe Brayson netting the consolation, whilst Ben Parkinson scored his 4th goal of the season in a 2-1 reverse against Liverpool. There was better news for the women's team. They made it 4 wins in a row, beating Derby County women 2-1 in the FA Women's National League Northern Premier Division, with goals from Beth Lumsden and Paige Bailey-Gale. That's in Newcastle headlines on Monday morning.
Mackems and Proud. Black Cats News.
Good morning, Sunderland fans. Dan Ballard says Sunderland's players remain behind Michael Beale despite successive defeats against Huddersfield and Birmingham. When asked what has changed since Beale's appointment, Ballard told the press, "I think it's more the structure as a team. I feel we are a lot more solid as a team. The recent results have just been frustrating, but it's a process. We love having the manager here. He's got a great football knowledge. We want results not just for him, but for the fans and everyone at the club. So it's been a frustrating week." No kidding. Michael Beale came in for heavy criticism over the weekend after seeming to snub Trey Hume when he left the pitch as a late substitute during Saturday's defeat to Birmingham City. The Sunderland coach was made aware after the final whistle and released the following statement on social media. "Trey Hume is a fantastic player for our club. He gives everything for his teammates and the staff. I wasn't aware that I missed his handshake until being asked about it post-game. I immediately went to see him to apologise. Trey passed a fitness test this morning to play the game, and I cannot hold him in higher regard as a man or professional. He is an example of everything that is good about a young footballer and our team." And finally, a late Grenadier double deep into added time, that's easy for me to say, secured a dramatic 4-3 victory for Sunderland women against Lewis women, sending them top of the Barclays Women's Championship. In a breathtaking 7-goal thriller that also saw Emily Scarr and Brianna Westrup score for Sunderland, the lasses are back in action at the beginning of March when they welcome Southampton women to Appleton Corrie Welfare Ground. They are your Sunderland headlines this morning.
Together across the North East, 3 brand new radio stations by the fans, for the fans, on DAB radio, online and smart speakers.
Right across the North East. The Red, the Toon and the Cat.
Someone going to talk?
News.
Welcome back to... I was muted. Welcome back to the North East Brekky Show. Happy Monday to everyone across the North
muted on
East.
Saturday.
I was muted.
Exactly.
I apologise. Welcome back. I hope you're all fantastic. Had a great weekend. And what a weekend it's been for the North East clubs across the whole North East. Teddy boy, I'm going to go straight to you because I consider us good mates. Close mates, brothers in arms, and I felt protective of you on the weekend, mate. I saw a bit of a fallout. Obviously, the Sunderland game was a bit of a shock. I was doing my watch along, and obviously, I have people come in and tell me the live updates. I saw the Sunderland went up through Jack Clark, only for Birmingham to pounce back and come back and win it 2-1. Mogga, obviously, getting the wood over Sunderland in his return. Around social media, the video doesn't look good. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, we're going to get Ted's full breakdown. He's going to have as long as he wants this morning. I'm not going to cut this man off at all. I will cut Steve off though, because he's not his birthday anymore. And we're going to listen to, because I want to hear about because from what the angle I looked at, Ted, Try Hume walks past Michael Beale. Now, Michael Beale's went to Instagram, I believe it was, after the game and said that he didn't see him. And then, we heard that in the
Arsene Wenger approach,
Yeah. Now, from the video that we can see, I think it's hard for him to miss Try Hume, but give us a breakdown, mate, of your whole weekend. Let us be here at your support
whole
group.
weekend. I'd rather not.
I want to hear from
Many
Saturday morning
takeaways
to
were damaged.
Sunday night. I'm here for you, mate. The floor is yours. Tell us about that match, obviously, and the Try Hume incident and your take of it all.
To be honest, the first half started great. I'm still at Dr. Mix. I'm still at in the UK at this moment in time. So I was kind of watching 2 games on Saturday. I was watching the Newcastle game on the big screen because my best mate wouldn't let me watch the Sunderland one on there. I had to watch mine on my phone.
Dr. Mix made you watch it on your phone.
Because he was watching the Newcastle game on his big telly.
I love it.
Honestly, it's like it's the most petty thing. It was like an episode of Bottom because I literally, as a result, I decorated his couch in as much Sunderland stuff as I had with me, including like me retro shirt, me hat, everything I could do.
Love it.
That's when the abuse started on social media, to be honest. But there you go. That was before the game.
There should have been a live camera of all of this.
It would have made actually a very good live feed. But there you go. I watched the game. We started pretty well, I thought. What I enjoyed about it and what I was really enthused by was the fact that Sunderland were getting into them and Birmingham are just starting to learn how to play out from the back and do it properly under Mogga. That nice sort of free passing football that we enjoyed for 15 months. And we seized on mistakes that come from that because if defenders were any good, they'd be midfielders or strikers, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. So they were kind of making those mistakes. Jack Clark pounced on one, put us 1-0 up. And to be honest, it felt like, okay, if we keep on doing that, because they're going to maintain playing out from the back, if we do that, we're going to hammer this lot. And in the second half, I don't know, it just seemed like we dropped back another 10, 15 yards in midfield. In fact, everybody on the pitch just seemed to drop back that little bit. Job had a golden opportunity. I've been very critical of Job to the point that, this was less about Beale, I felt, at this moment in time, certainly tactically. He could have changed things up. He could have got them pressing a little further forward in the second half, but I'll come back to that. Job had a chance to play in Jack Clark to put us ahead, and at that point, you'd pretty much say Birmingham haven't got an answer. Birmingham wouldn't have an answer at that point. You've got a guy who is free to your left, who has scored 15 goals this season, 4 assists, red-hot form, £25 million player, pretty much there, sat ready just to score. All he had to do was lay it off for him because Job's path was blocked to goal anyway by 2 defenders and a goalkeeper. Job obviously decided then to play for the name on the back of the shirt rather than the badge on the front. and pretty much went for glory and fluffed his lines. Opportunity went awry, and Birmingham basically strolled up the other end of the pitch and got back in the game. And at that stage, that for me just showed immaturity, a great deal of arrogance, I thought, for somebody who, many fans are saying, it's not just me, many fans are saying that shouldn't be starting at this moment in time because he looks leggy, he looks lethargic, he's played too much football. He fluffed the lines. The incident with Trey Hume is an interesting one because I agree, right? I find that hard to believe that he is sneaked by like the little Northern Ireland ninja that he is. If Michael Beale's peripheral vision is that bad, he shouldn't be coaching a top-level football team. He shouldn't be coaching a kids' team if his peripheral vision is that bad, because it's against a backdrop of blue, seeing one red and white shirt moving towards you on the touchline, it kind of gets noticed. You know what I mean? Nobody's lost in the moment that much. It just looks all weird from the angle. Trey Hume looks rightfully annoyed. The shake of the head after he gets snubbed says it all. Beale has apologised. Like I said in the headlines, he's taken to social media and said, I was made aware of it after the game. I'm thinking, I'm not buying it. I'm really not buying it. I thought it was all the good work that Beale has done in recent weeks in terms of starting to build that relationship with the fans, and then something like that where it doesn't look good on him. It really doesn't. And he can protest his innocence all he likes. You're looking at the camera angles, you're looking at the footage of what's happened. It's a really, really bad look. And it's not surprising that those rumours have started and the whispers have started that there could be an announcement today from Sunderland Football Club saying that he's gone. On the other hand, you've got the likes of Dan Ballard coming out and saying, we're behind the manager. Are they behind the manager, or are they just behind him ready to push him? Because right at this moment in time, the season's gone for us now. Forget about the playoffs now. It's absolutely not happening. And I know Middlesbrough obviously cracking win for them. I know you'll wax lyrical about that, and Middlesbrough might even fancy their chances because that could be the kickstarter for their form. Our form is just too up and down for us to mount a serious challenge to get into the playoffs. So for me, I would forget all about them now. That's gone. A change of manager isn't going to sort that. I don't think we've recruited well enough to be able to mount that challenge. There were some good performances out there. Don't get me wrong. Mundell, I thought in the first half was very lively. I liked the look of him. Clark was back to his best despite being 2 or 3 players on him at any one time. But there was some disappointments as well. Patterson really should have done better with his error, shall we say. I was going to say something else, but you can't say that on radio, Ted. Overall, very, very disappointing. I think the tone on social media pretty much said it all. Obviously, some North East journalists maybe should be checking their tone on social media about how they speak to other people, but that's a story for another day, isn't it? Just disappointing all in all. Disappointed with the manager, disappointed with his actions, disappointed with that second half performance in a game that really should have been won. But poor decision making has cost us ultimately on not just Michael Beale's shoulders, but the likes of Job, the likes of the goalkeeper, and a few other people on social media as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, obviously, the whole breakdown of what's happened for Sunderland on the weekend. I did go back and watch the highlights. I think we were in the WhatsApp we don't talk about. I was shocked to see Burstow lined up again. I feel like the Roos and Burstow argument keeps changing. And then we see Burstow missing that. Was it Pierre Ekwa that got down the right-hand side and whipped one in? And Burstow did he got into the centre of the goal. He somehow sort of side backheeled it, I want to say. It went straight over the goal where I feel like Rooson might have buried that if he was in. But I mean, Burstow got in the right area.
Well, all we're doing is trying to play a Chelsea academy player into form, and we're not going to reap anything from that come the end of the season. It's a ridiculous decision to play him. It really is.
Yeah, no, it's the battle between Burstow and Rooson that always has me shocked. But yeah, I think Sunderland created enough chances. It was just one of those games. It was a great save by Ruddy against Pierre Ekwar as well. When it was Mundell, who brought it down in the box, turned onto his right on a bit of a flick shot. Ruddy producing a great save. Stevie boy, a lot's happened. Not that you would have been paying much attention to your Sunderland cohort, but the Tri-Hume incident, mate, I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's the big one for me. Seeing a manager seemingly brush one of their players when substituted. Now, obviously, you've heard what Michael Beale had to say. I guess your take on it, mate, and obviously the loss to Birmingham as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be a hard game for Sunderland. I thought it was 2 hard games for both North East Championship teams this weekend, to be fair. And obviously, we know Middlesbrough came up trump. Sunderland didn't. Mugger would have had the Birmingham lads well up for that, and it looked at one stage as if Sunderland were going to follow in the same vein as Middlesbrough, but obviously things went wrong, and I watched the doom and gloom, obviously from Ted's point of view, develop, and was completely unaware of the dismissive action of the manager against one of his own players until much later on Saturday night. It can be taken in 2 ways, I guess. I mean, was he watching something on the pitch? Was he, or was he deliberately ignoring his player as he comes off the pitch? We'll never know. A picture and a video can say one thing, and it depends how you want to look at things. It seems to be a very Jekyll and Hyde relationship that Sunderland fans have with Beale at the moment. 1 minute he's the best thing since sliced bread, the next minute he's the devil incarnate, and I'm not sure where you lie with this. And I mean, the rumours, and I must insist that they are rumours that we're hearing about Beale being moved on are just, something which I would be left scratching my head at, because, has he really done enough over these last few games to be sacked? Are the owners going to do the impossible and sack somebody after such a short space of time? I mean, we'll all be flicking through the record books to check, what is the quickest dismissal for a manager in football and at Sunderland Football Club. But it's certainly a strange one. At the moment, again, the chances of the playoffs are still very much there for Sunderland. They just need to find that bit of form. On Friday, our 3 wise monkeys, Daz, Dave, and Rye were all, oh, it's over, the season's over. They'd all caught Dave's negativity from the week before, and now they're going to win. They're going to win the playoffs. So it shows.
Champions League. No, we're not. We're not going to get in the playoffs.
It shows, well, so Dave's maintaining it, so and rightly so. If you're gonna make a claim, you should stick by it. And at the moment, I mean, rightly so. I could see why Rye was excited. I'd flicked onto his watch along when I was heading home, just and rewound it to when Leicester's rearguard leaked the first and second goals, and it was hilarious. But I mean, it that's what football's all about. It gives you those moments of joy. Middlesbrough have got to build on that now after such disappointing results. They've got to build on that, and if Carrick's found a way to motivate his team and get them into a position where they can challenge for the playoffs, and then good on them. But the Sunderland situation is a strange one. I don't think people are happy with the Beale appointment, and I think he will go. But will he go now?
His record, Steve, he's been in charge for 12 games. He's won 4, drawn 2, lost 6.
I mean, it's not good, and it was never a good. It was never a good appointment. It was never a good appointment to bring in somebody like him who hadn't really got much experience. But then you have to ask how much can Sunderland afford to spend? Your owners are thinking about one thing and one thing only, and that's balancing the books and the finances, and treading water. They know they're not going to go down this season. They know that they're not going to get relegated. So this for them,
not this season.
No, but it's another season in the Championship. Which they will be happy with. It's more income coming in, and they can buy themselves a bit of time and get things right. Maybe in their mind, Beale was always a short-term appointment. Bring him in and then stay in the Championship, guaranteed TV money for another year, and let's look and if Beale works out, then it's a cheap option which is paid dividends. But it really is strange. I think they should have stuck with Mugger until at least the end of the season. Where Mugger would have got you, who knows? I know that the form under Mugger wasn't great and the fans were getting on his back, but sometimes owners have just got to buck the trend and not go with what they're hearing from supporters. They've just got to stick to their guns, and eventually they'll get through it. But I think it's going to take a miracle worker to come into Sunderland working on this kind of this kind of budget that these owners have. You can't make miracles happen when you've got no money. Very similar to what's happening at Newcastle, which we'll come to later. In the sense that you can't expect somebody to bring in great players if you're hampered by FFP, and it's a very similar thing with Sunderland. There's not the money there to spend, so you've got to make do and mend. And I would say any manager, Eddie Howe, Jose Mourinho, whoever would go to Sunderland would struggle on that kind of budget. And that's the problem you've got. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Beale goes. Will he stay or will he go? I don't know what this is about a flight. Did he say that he's been going up? He's been seeing what going to Scotland?
He apparently didn't travel with the team. Which apparently he was travelling up to Scotland.
So you have the Pritchard situation. I mean, again, the beauty of football in general is that rumours circulate, like they're going out of fashion, and the invent of the internet and the WhatsApp. In particular, creates a multitude of problems, because you suddenly have all these people coming up with different theories, or somebody starts something off for mischievous purposes and it flies around like wildfire. So is the Pritchard story too? Is it true that people were asked to get up and do a song and they refused? I saw all of those kind of rumours that were flying around, and certain players were saying that's embarrassing, you shouldn't do that. Well, who knows? And watching the Tri-Hume thing, if you wanted to take it in the way that we all did take it, it just looked like he was just being arrogant and not shaking his player's hand. But he might not have seen him. We don't know. And the fact that he acted quickly, was that on his own behalf? He come out and he praised Tri-Hume and waxed lyrical about him, or was that the club saying you need to put this right? Again, we'll never know. But communication's key in things like this. Supporters need to know what's going on. If there are rumours circulating that the manager could go, the club need to act fast and stamp that out.
Right, Dad, we haven't got long before the sports headlines. Sorry, Ted. We will come back to it because I think there's more to talk about here with Sunderland. But I wanted to get your thoughts, Radio Dad, before we just quickly go to the sports headlines on that handshake.
It didn't look good, did it? And it certainly did look, when you look at the video, it certainly did look as though he caught him. He caught him out the corner of his eye. He knew he was there. He knew he was coming up. And there's almost a little side step in there. Now, it could all be coincidence. Maybe he hasn't seen him, but it didn't look good. I mean, if that was evidence that you had to rely on, I think the majority of people would look at that and say it was a snub rather than not seeing him. Just because of body language and all that sort of stuff. But make no bones about it, Beale will not be sacked on current form. He's not going to be sacked on current form. He's not going to go anywhere if the club have to make a decision on current form, because it's too soon. It really is too soon for them to make a change of management. However,
Lee Johnson was sacked in second because the stats said they weren't going to get promoted. What's the stats saying now?
I think there's been too much crap flying around Sunderland in the past couple of months. They couldn't possibly, could they? They couldn't possibly add to that. Sacking Beale now would be a huge admission of a massive error in judgment in terms of recruiting, and that would firmly point the finger and the focus and the spotlight and everything else, every other adjective you want to use at the management of the football club. So I don't think he's going to go anywhere on current form. However, if the club truly feel that this is yet another massive PR own goal, and they do adjudge Beale to have snubbed his player, and he already has been told to apologise, and this is all conjecture because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and maybe the apology was Beale was told to make the apology. We don't know. It's grassy knoll, white puff of smoke, and wood picket fence again. But if that is the case, then maybe there are discussions going on this morning about this, and it could be used as a bit of a lever, a bit of leverage in making that decision to get rid of the manager if they're not happy with the direction that things are going in. So I'm not saying he's not going to go, but what I am saying is I couldn't imagine for one moment if I was running that football club, you would be sacking that manager right now on current form.
It is a big one, and maybe you're absolutely right. It might be used as a bit of a leverage point because it's not good, but obviously we don't know. We're just guessing. Well, we'll talk more about this because there's a lot more to dissect on the North East Brekky show. We've got more to talk about with Sunderland, more to talk about with Newcastle, obviously, and their draw, and more to talk about Middlesbrough going on to win the Champions League this season. That's right, I said it. On to your sports headlines. We'll be back right after this.
Together across the North East.
The Toon, the Cat and the Red.
I genuinely thought he'd just called the Scottish League the Singed Premiership. I wondered where he was going with that. Singed? What? Where's he going?
I love hearing is when Ben Stokes is having a problem with VAR as well when he plays cricket. I love hearing that. It's all over the shop, isn't it, VAR? Hey? It's even affecting our good cricketers. Welcome back to the North East Brekky Show. Happy Monday morning. You're joined by the full cohort, Radio Dad on the buttons, Teddy, who is a little bit despondent. Our poor Teddy. We're protecting him this morning.
I'm all right.
Just to make Teddy feel a bit brighter.
Okay. Let's do it now. Lewis O'Brien. Lewis O'Brien's offside. He's one-on-one with the keeper. Lewis O'Brien. Scatters it. Oh my God, we scored. Oh my God. Borough scored. The Saints have scored. Borough 1-0 up against Leicester. What has happened? Borough 1-0 up against the league leaders. Get in and wake everybody up. Oh my goodness, I'm still breathless. Oh my God, Middlesbrough on again. Sammy Silvera scored. Diaz scored. Sammy Silvera. Ozzy. I love this club. I love Sammy Silvera. Ozzy.
There you go, Ted. Just to make you feel better. For those who are wondering what on earth that was Rye, the live watch along as you heard it on the Red. So there you go.
Oh, the text messages between you and me, Dave, when you were just like, I'm breathless, oh my God. We started off so somber and ended with that. I couldn't believe it. We will get into Middlesbrough very soon.
Your club to win.
Have you said?
I said 1-0.
Not even to get a draw.
We can still celebrate a victory, can't we?
I said 1-0.
Whether we thought we would or we wouldn't, we can still celebrate victory.
I mean, we thought Joe Bellingham was going to be the superstar the other week after he did that final solo goal where he ran in, and now look at him, he's the enemy again. But it is football. It's the right things of football. Let's just finish off Sunderland because I feel like we were cut off a little bit there. We are
looks
obviously
like Beale's
just
doing
talking
that.
about. Yeah, we look like we're just getting rumours obviously this morning that there might be, there could be an announcement. We're just sort of picking at straws here. The Tri-Hume incident though is the big one that we've seen that all on the camera. We all think that Tri-Hume has been ignored by Michael Beale, but we could be giving the benefit of the doubt. It could be just something that Michael Beale has.
I've sent you the image in the WhatsApp group there, lads. You tell me, in that proximity, has he really not seen him?
The camera angle's bad. The camera angle's really bad. I don't know if it's because you would see him 100%, and he's reached out. It's not like he's made himself invisible or anything like that. So you can definitely see that. And I would 100% expect it. And you know what? Even after the fact, when you see Tri-Hume shaking his head, to have an assistant manager come up and go, hey, Tri's just missed a handshake, maybe just go and say a quick word to him there and then and squash it. Because if Michael Beale had gone over to Tri after it and just gone, oh, sorry, mate, you know what I mean? Or walked up to him when he's sitting on the bench and shook his hand then, and nobody would have blinked an eyelid at this. But it was the fact that he ignored it. Nobody came and told him until after the game, and then it's too late. So it is bad. In terms of obviously what's next for Sunderland, you've got a week now to sort of get back onto the training pitch. You're thinking potentially there might be news, there might not be news. Are you confident at all that Beale will be in charge this weekend, Ted?
Well, I'm really not sure at this stage. I get what Dave's saying, that, you know, by taking Beale out of that job now, points the finger that the management and the sporting director have made a colossal mistake in appointing this guy in the first place. And like I say, you know, Christian Speakman has to take responsibility for these decisions because he's in a position to do that. But if they do get rid of Michael Beale, Speakman is about to appoint his fifth manager, and he keeps on getting it. Well, you know, in their opinion, he keeps on getting it wrong because they let Tony Mowbray go. Alex Neil, all right, you know, he forced the move away because he wanted more money. But the Lee Johnson thing was kind of a bit of a weird one. You know, they sacked Lee Johnson when he was in second because they said the stats didn't look good. Whichever way you look at that, and you know, ultimately it was the right decision because we got Alex Neil in. But we were in second when Lee Johnson was sacked. We're now dropping down. What are we in 10th now? And showing form that we are not going to be anywhere near the playoffs come the end of the season. So, you know, do they accept mediocrity for the club, or do they actually, you know, press the button and get somebody in, or give Dodsey the reins until the end of the season, until they find somebody in who can work to a decent model and look like they're going to get us, you know, out of this division and moving the club forward again? Because right now we are regressing. There's no doubt about that. There's poor decisions being made on the pitch and off the pitch. That's so players as well. There's players need to step up their performances without a shadow of a doubt. But also tactically, I think we're just going backwards. We're starting games actually reasonably okay, but then not being able to maintain it, or just becoming more defensive in the second half when you're thinking, well, there's a chance for a win here, but we could go all the way and keep pressing. And I'm seeing it too many times now. The Birmingham game isn't the first time that this has happened. We look weaker. We look, you know, devoid of ideas and devoid of any sort of pace in attack. And it's rather worrying. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is gone.
Okay.
But it might just take a few more defeats for that to happen.
Interesting. We'll watch that one with eager eyes, obviously, here on the North East Breakfast Show. A big week for Sunderland coming up. Let's move on to Newcastle v Bournemouth. We have got Stevie Wraith here to break everything down for you. Steve, it was a great game. I went back and watched the highlights. I wasn't able to watch it live. Obviously, the mighty Borough were on, winning the championship. I thought it was a fantastic game. I was shocked to see Dubravka in the first goal, slipping over, obviously. Wasn't a good start.
Unlucky to water the pitch at half time.
Yeah.
Water the pitch at half time. That's what they do. They do the water the pitch, and that's why.
Well, it wasn't necessary. I thought Miggy Almiron went very close. He took that solo effort in and then would have whipped it into the top left-hand corner had it been a bit lower. Bruno getting pulled down in the box. A big eventful afternoon at St. James's Park. Happy with the draw in the end?
Look, it was a fair result. You couldn't complain. 4 games unbeaten. That's not sugarcoating what should have been, really, it should have been a win for Newcastle. If they've got any desires on finishing the European spot, you need to beat Luton Town and Bournemouth at home. They haven't, and that ultimately is what is going to, dictate where Newcastle finish this season. Disappointed? No. Seen 2 great games. 4-4 and a 2-2. I went into the game expecting Newcastle to narrowly shade it. I thought we had enough, despite the fact that we didn't have a centre forward to play. A recognised centre forward with both Wilson and Isak both being on the injured list. I thought Eddie Howe might have pulled a surprise out the hat, and either positionally put somebody up front who maybe we didn't expect, or I expected Isak to be back. It turns out that Willock and Isak were both very, very close to playing. So one would imagine that when it comes to the game next weekend against Arsenal, that we will see one or both at least on the bench. As a game itself, it wasn't as enjoyable as the Luton game. It was a hard watch. The first half was, I wouldn't say it was dour. It was 0-0. It was tense. I think Bournemouth shaded the first half. I think Solanke should have really had Bournemouth, 2-1 up in the first half when you go to the chances. Dubravka pulled off 2 brilliant saves. and I think that Anthony Gordon should have done better with the opportunity that he had. But I think if we'd gone in 2-1 down at the interval, we couldn't have complained. I think the second half, Newcastle had the better of it. And, as always, there is a controversial VAR decision. Controversial for Bournemouth. They felt it shouldn't have been a penalty. I felt it was a penalty all day. I called the penalty before VAR had even agreed to look at it. You could see that Shaw's shirt was being pulled, from the offset, and if you do that, by the letter of the letter of the law, and by is that hard to understand? It was a penalty. Bournemouth's manager, obviously sour grapes, wasn't happy about it, but it was definitely a penalty, no doubt about it. The substitutions, if I am going to be picky, I felt that he should have probably taken Dan Burn off at the same time as he made the change in midfield, but. And of course that led to us going 2-1 down. But then he brought Matt Ritchie on, and Matt Ritchie got the equaliser. So he got it right. Eddie Howe got it right. It was always going to be a tough game. Bournemouth didn't come and sit back. Bournemouth came and gave it a go. They took the game to us. They were on a bad run of form. They hadn't won in 5. And credit to them. They used having the centre forwards to their advantage, and Solanke gave Bournemouth everything that we didn't have with not having a centre forward. Gordon was superb. He ran his heart into the ground again. Almiron, he lacked in creativity, but what he lacked in creativity made up for with the effort once again. He ran himself into the ground. Again, Lewis Miley, I thought, had a really good game. I've obviously done our podcast since then, and one or two of the lads disagreed with me. They felt that Miley, with the exception of a couple of challenges and a couple of really good balls through, they felt that was probably one of his worst games. I didn't think that. I thought again he did really well, and I could probably give a bit of praise as well. Obviously, I've already done it to Dubravka. But Bruno, my only disappointment with Bruno is I don't think he got forward as much as he had against Forest, and I felt if he'd taken a bit more of a gamble, then we may well have got some just rewards from it. But overall, a point was a fair result. Bournemouth will be happy. Newcastle probably won't be, but as Eddie Howe said at the end of the game, it kept the unbeaten run going. We found some form. Our away form, though, ironically, is now better than our home form. We couldn't win away from home. Now we seem to have reversed it. The atmosphere is something that's been brought up by a lot of people online. I could have shouted out loud when I saw another Twitter account start up. Based around creating an atmosphere at St James's Park. I won't say the expletive I used in my house, but we don't need another group of supporters trying to create an atmosphere, because an atmosphere is created by what you see on the pitch. We've got to accept that all Cedar Stadiums has changed it for good, whether you're the Premier League or the Championship. It's never going to be the same again. And what happened to if we have a safe standing area, that's going to improve the atmosphere, right? It didn't, and it hasn't, and it won't, because an atmosphere is always dictated on what happens on the pitch, and unfortunately it wasn't a great game on the pitch. Another pet hate, whilst I'm on my soapbox, is people leaving early. I won't understand really why people, I know there's various reasons, but why people choose to go 10 minutes before half time to go down for a pint when there's at least 5 minutes of injury time, so you're missing 15 minutes then, and then the same people will then leave 10 minutes before the end of a game which had a 5-minute stoppage for VAR and also had substitutions which amounted to 10 minutes of injury time. So in theory you've missed 35 minutes of the game, mate, for leaving. The fact that you actually got up and walked past us and went, "Oh, I've had enough of this rubbish," when it was, Newcastle were just 1-0 down. you clearly hadn't been there when Mike Ashley had that club and Steve Bruce is managing our team. So, this is unfortunately what we're attracting, these kind of supporters who, clearly haven't ever had to deal with some of the rubbish that we've had to deal with over the years. So, yeah, a lot to digest there, a lot to take in. My mindset is still that Newcastle will finish in the top 6 or 7. Manchester United's win yesterday has probably put paid to the 6th place. They're going to have a bit of a... They're probably going to have to have a bit of a fall from grace over the course of the next few weeks, and Newcastle are going to need to find some fantastic form, and we're going to have to beat Manchester United when we play them. But I still feel, we're going to finish in that top 7. But it's going to be a hard push now. The fixture list is favourable for Newcastle, but we need a bit of a run with injuries, and the sight of Fabian Schär getting helped off the pitch by 2 physios as the lads were getting walking around the pitch applauding the crowd, and seeing Fabian Schär with his arm being supported, it looks like it's a wrist injury. Now you can play with a cast on your arm, a makeshift cast on your arm. We're just going to have to wait and see what the diagnosis is. But can our season get any worse with injuries? I just don't think it can. So yeah, all round wasn't a classic. 4 goals though, and a point in the bag. We've got nothing to complain about, Newcastle fans. You've just got to sit back and enjoy what you're seeing around you. Hopefully the whole noise about Dan Ashworth will pass now. And I described that on Twitter as like discovering germaloids for the first time. For me personally, that's the biggest relief I've had in the last couple of weeks, to hear that that Dan Ashworth is now asked to leave. Get yourself away, mate. But let's hope that Newcastle do stick to their guns and demand a ridiculous amount of money and stick them on gardening leave for 15 months. Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. And really, Dan, what have you done for Newcastle? What have you done? You signed, you oversaw the signing of Tonali. Well, that turned out well, hasn't it? What have you actually done for Newcastle United? And Roy Keane said exactly the same at the weekend. There's no loyalty in the bloke. He basically said there is no loyalty. He said I would question Manchester United appointing somebody who proved that he's got no loyalty. And what does he actually do? So fair play to Roy Keane for coming out and speaking as he finds. And I've done exactly the same. But yeah, that's my review of the match over the weekend, lads.
Davey-Lad, you've had a bit of a sleep in, so I'm going to perk you up like a morning coffee.
I've been working behind the scenes, grafting, fingers to the bone. Turning around such wonderful creativity like your goals.
Your breakdown, obviously, of the Newcastle match. Newcastle coming away with a 2-2 draw, thanks to Matt Ritchie.
I think didn't we all go for Newcastle winning that one?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I mean, it's 2 points lost. I know, Steve, I get what you're saying. Keep the unbeaten run going. It's another point in the bag, but I think quite sensibly you'd already given up hope on a Champions League push this season. So for me, I would be disappointed as a Newcastle fan, but I wouldn't be annoyed. I wouldn't be walking out. I wouldn't be shouting, "I've had enough of this," tripe or whatever it was that was said. I just look at the overall position of Newcastle, but maybe that's easy to say as a neutral, as a rival fan, because can I do that with the Borough? I think I've done that with the Borough this season. I know you were having a pop at me earlier for predicting Borough would get beat by Leicester, and saying 2 weeks ago that, or 2 games ago, that I think the chances of a playoff place have gone. I was very rational when I came to that conclusion. I just looked at our inconsistency, etc., etc. It wasn't an emotional reaction, and I think that guy who walked past you, Steve, that was an emotional reaction, and maybe he's not in a position to be able to take as cold and considered view as you can. So yeah, I'd be bitterly disappointed, because that's a game Newcastle should have won. That's a game going into it. The confidence should have been there, irrespective of the injuries, because Bournemouth weren't on a happy run. They weren't an informed team that were tearing up the Premier League. So I would have looked at that as a wonderful opportunity for 3 points. But it didn't happen. It wasn't a defeat. It's another point gained, and it's another step closer to getting rid of Ashworth, getting all that business sorted out, and then having a look for the summer, and what work can be done to get you back to where you were 12 months ago.
It is interesting. I think Newcastle are in for a massive summer. I keep saying that. I think it's going to be a massive changing of hands, if you will, in terms of player base and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see. Teddy boy, Newcastle, funny enough, their last, their sort of run of form has been a loss, then a win, then a draw, then a win, then a draw. So they're bound to beat Arsenal this weekend on current form because they go loss, then win, then loss, then win.
With a controversial VAR decision. Oh, how would that make us laugh?
Your thoughts on the Newcastle v Bournemouth tie, Teddy boy?
Well, like I said, I had half an eye on that game anyway because of the 60-inch screen that's in the front room, and obviously I wasn't allowed to watch the Sunderland game on
surrounded
that.
by student pizza boxes and Chinese takeaway cartons. Yeah.
Do you know what? The thing is, I'm
and
looking
cans
at
of Kestrel
across the room. No, not Kestrel. Dear boy. No, Cronenberg, sir. Literally, I'm looking at a small pizza box across from me right now. We had yet another takeaway last night, but there you go. Listen, I actually enjoyed the game. I thought there was some end-to-end stuff. I think Dubravka should feel a little hard done to with that mistake. I don't think it was his mistake. Of course, he slipped, but it was a bit of a hospital pass to play back to him anyway. So I felt a bit sorry for him because, as Steve rightly pointed out, there was 2 or 3 really, really great saves from him. I thought from a Bournemouth perspective, I thought Solanke was trouble all game. And I wouldn't be massively surprised to see Newcastle go in for someone like him. I thought he had yet another good game. I think he's a striker who's really, really in form right now for his club. So a very, very entertaining game. I think a draw was absolutely the right result. I think as much as we hate VAR, and we do, so much so we wrote and sang a song all about it, I did think the decision was correct. I don't think it should have taken 7 minutes to get there. That was the only thing. The initial reaction, I just happened to be looking at the screen at that time. My initial reaction was the same as Steve's, in the fact that I thought, that's a penalty. It's a penalty all day long. There's a shirt pull, it was clear. But obviously you had to go through. Initially, I think they were looking at it to see if it was offside, first of all. And then obviously reviewing the penalty incident as well. So that's what took the time there. I don't understand the little bits of murmurings about Lewis Miley. I thought he was excellent. He's one of them. And, we talk about decision making. We talk about Job's bad decision making in the Sunderland game, where he should have absolutely squared it to Jack Clark. Then you look at Lewis Miley, who just always seems to play the right kind of pass, and those fine margins are where careers are made and defined. I thought he was very impressive. I did feel that Dan Burn was getting caught 1 or 2 times when I was looking up from it. Admittedly, I didn't watch the full game. I was watching the Sunderland game, of course, but there was a couple of times, and obviously I'm sat next to a Geordie watching it anyway, and I don't know whether it was a case where Bournemouth were more targeting Dan Burn or whether he just happened to be getting caught out. For me, Dan Burn still could have a future at Newcastle United. There's no question about that. But where I see him is being in the left-hand side of a back three. I could see that happening, and then obviously you have to play with wing backs. Of course, it would mean a totally different system for Eddie Howe. But that's the way I would see it. I think he's just getting caught out too many times as a left back. He hasn't got the pace. But all being said and done, I thought it was a very entertaining game, a good Premier League clash. I thought Bournemouth went there where you would think, St James's Park, obviously for a team like them, is an intimidating place to go. It's nearly always a full house. But they came and they attacked, and they gave them a really good go. At times it looked like Bournemouth might just sneak the win. The one thing I did want to talk about, now I don't know how this looked at the stadium, Steve, was the kit choice. Now, for me, it was actually quite difficult, even just watching it on the screen, of course, but it was quite difficult to discern between the two kits at times. I don't know whether it was just, the hue on mixed TV, but did it look quite close?
It was, to be honest, the Bournemouth strip was weird. I said it as soon as the teams came out. I didn't like it. I don't know why on earth they played in that. I mean, clearly, you know, we'll have second strips, third strips. We all do these days. But it was just a strange strip, and it did beg the question. You know, why were they allowed to wear it? It was. I couldn't really put my finger on it. It was very similar. Not. It wasn't green, but it was. Was it turquoise? It was a hot.
It was like an off-white, but with a tinge of colour in it.
I'm going off aqua with a tinge of orange.
Yeah, there was something not right with it anyway, but it didn't sit right with me. It wasn't the greatest of strips, to be fair.
No, it just made it was annoying to watch because it was so close to being white, where you're thinking, well, surely they can't play in that. That's too close to cause a clash, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's a very, very small point, of course, but I just wanted to get your view on that one. But yeah, good draw, you know, the Newcastle move on, and Rye's absolutely right, you know, given the form, you're probably going and smash Arsenal down at the Emirates, but who knows, because the form guide is just crazy. The only thing you can bank on in the Premier League is Sheffield United's going to lose 5-0.
Every week.
And don't we love it, Borough fans? Don't we love it? We're the Chris Wilder team.
Yeah,
can't do too well.
What's up? I've done it in a very subdued way. Oh, there you go. That's how you do it. Barry's been on. Totally agree with Steve. With the fans walking out, you're supposed to be there to support the team no matter what. Amazing shows always, guys. So thank you for that one, mate. Thanks for Baz.
Thank you, mate.
I hope you don't mind being called Baz. By the way, Jack, what's up? In Leicester,
what's up, Jack?
Who had a great day because he lives in Leicester and went to the game and even took a red radio beer mat with him to take photographs of it within the King Power Stadium.
Jack,
we love you, Jackie boy. Says here, Radio Dad, did you hear my poem to Ted?
No, I haven't sent it to him, but you definitely need to, Jack. Jack has sent me a certain poem, but I'll send it to you now, Radio Dad, and you can have a read over the news.
I think it's here, but send it anyway.
You got it, have you? Okay,
I think it's here because I can see an audio file above from last week. Oh no, it isn't. Okay. It's actually earlier today. Sorry. But it's news time, so during the news, I'll have a listen because we must censor everything. That could possibly lose my license on this radio station before we play it out, like Ted. But then that's another matter.
I don't know what you mean.
Being well behaved. I've only been in the UK, mate. It must just be the Cyprus air.
Actually, you're right. I have as well, haven't I? Yeah. I've been a good lad. I'm that bit closer to me, man, so I've got to be good.
Yeah, don't even go near that German signing that Daz has thrown into the WhatsApp group that we don't talk about. He's only trying to cause trouble, is young Daz.
We ignored that.
I'll be having a word with him very soon. But it is news time. We're very late. Yes, indeed.
Time for your news.
Steve, go on. Go on, Steve. Say it.
News.
The red, the tune, the cat, weather.
Oh, well, just having a look at the old weather forecast. A band of heavy rain in places has probably moved through the region this morning. There will be some scattered showers, though, left behind. Clouds going to break up, especially in the east. Sunny spells developing through the day, staying cloudy on higher ground. 10 Celsius is your high for today. Tonight, clouds spreading east through the evening, bringing some patchy rain. Your minimums, well, still not bad for this time of year. No lower than 6.
From Yarm to Yibby, Harrington to Horsley Hill, Swalwell to Silverlink, the North East Footy Breakfast with Roy, Steve and Ted.
Right across the North East, the red, the tune and the cat.
And the North East Footy Brekky show will be right back after a little musical interlude. Oh, it's the boss. He's got the human touch.
You and me, we were the pretenders. We let it all slip away. In the end, what you don't surrender, well, the world just strips away. Girl, ain't no kindness in the face of strangers. We ain't gonna find no miracles here. Well, you can and a little pain. You might need something to hold on to when all the answers ain't on the mountain. Much somebody that you could just talk to in a little of that human touch. Baby, in a world without pity, do you think what I'm asking's too much? I just want to feel you in my arms, share a little of that human touch, share a little of that human touch, feel a little of that human touch, and you feel a little of that human touch, share a little of that human touch, feel a little of that human touch, give you a little of that human touch, give me a little of that human touch.
Thankless task.
I do. It is a thankless task trying to corral you guys. Bruce Springsteen, human touch. We do like a bit of Springsteen on the show.
We were having a human touch there, weren't we?
You were having a
Just
we were having a
Brothers in Arms.
down to earth.
to keep the song theme going. Brothers in Arms, you were just there.
Yeah, we were. We certainly were. We certainly were. Welcome back to the North East Football Breakfast Show.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a poem. We've got a poem for Ted.
Oh.
Shall we?
Did you read it? Did you like it? Okay. The floor is yours.
He's actually sent it in.
Oh, have you got...
Jack's voiced it.
You sent it in.
Jack's voiced it.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're gonna,
the floor is yours, Jackie
Not
boy.
only do we read out Jack's messages on this show, we're now going to hear his voice. So this is Jack the Borough fan who lives in Leicester, who is cock-a-hoop.
Cringe. He's what?
He's cock-a-hoop. It's a phrase, mate.
I just lost you in the headphones, that's all, mate.
It's a
I
phrase.
just lost you for a second.
It's definitely a phrase. And this is his ode to Ted.
Michael Beale, oh what a fail, his tactics levers all in travail. Ted the Mackham with a scowl, Beale's choices made him howl. Sunderland's hope in Beale's hands, but Ted the Mackham firmly stands. Against his methods, loud and clear, Beale's strategy, Ted does jeer. With each match a new dismay, Beale's way Ted can't obey. Sunderland's plight under his reign, Ted the Mackham feels his pain. So here we stand in Beale's domain, Ted the Mackham can't contain his disdain for Beale's every move. Sunderland's fate Ted disproves. Michael Carrick's Red and White Army, we hate Sunderland.
Oh, Jack, I didn't listen right to the end there.
Oh, what a chip at the end there.
I was just going to give him a round of applause for that.
Yeah.
Oh, then the
Ted,
rapier-like sword came in to stab in the back.
Let's get your immediate reaction here on the radio.
Live on the radio, okay.
Careful.
First of all, Jack, thank you very much for taking the time out to prove that we do still live in the borough's minds rent-free.
Well done.
That was really good.
That's
really good.
That's a well-lived-in Sunderland expression. It's like we live in the mag's minds rent-free. We live in the smoggy's minds rent-free.
I even had the Holgate end joining in on Twitter, commenting on little Sunderland stories and things like that. We do. But that was very creative, Jack. I mean, it was a little bit, poetic license with the truth, but I'm not an absolute hater of any one particular in football. But no, it was very, very well written, and I think it captured the mood of the weekend beautifully. Very well done, mate.
Oh, well done, Jackie boy. And thank you for letting your creative juices flow. Right, welcome back to the North East Football Breakfast Show. It's just after 8 a.m. Happy Monday. We've got a full week ahead of you for the onslaught that comes this weekend of 3 new games. And we've got to talk still about the Borough. That's right, I got Sunderland Newcastle out of the way. Now we've got a whole hour on the Borough. Strap yourselves in. We are going to go to the North East football highlights, though. We're going to get highlights from, news headlines. I apologize, not highlights. News headlines. I don't know where I was going with that one. I was on a high. We're going to get news headlines from Sunderland, Newcastle, and the Borough, and we'll be back after that to talk about the Borough. Get in.
Mackems and Proud. Black Cats News.
Good morning, Sunderland fans, and happy-ish Monday. Dan Ballard says Sunderland players remain behind Michael Beale despite successive defeats at Huddersfield and Birmingham. When asked what has changed since Beale's appointment, Ballard told the press, "I think it's more the structure as a team. I feel like we are a lot more solid as a team. The recent results have just been frustrating, but it's a process. We love having the manager here and he's got great football knowledge. We want results not just for him, but for the fans and everyone at the club. So it's been a frustrating week." He absolutely has been. Michael Beale came in for heavy criticism over the weekend after seeming to snub Trey Hume when he left the pitch as a late substitute during Saturday's defeat to Birmingham City. The Sunderland coach was made aware after the final whistle and released the following statement on social media. "Trey Hume is a fantastic player for our club. He gives everything for his teammates and the staff. I wasn't aware that I missed his handshake until being asked about it post-game. I immediately went to see him to apologise. Trey passed a fitness test this morning to play the game, and I cannot hold him in high regard as a man or professional. He is an example of everything that is good about a young footballer and our team." And finally, a late Jenna Deere, double deep into added time, secured a dramatic 4-3 victory for Sunderland women against Lewes women, sending them top of the Barclays Women's Championship. In a breathtaking 7-goal thriller, saw Emily Scarr and Brianna Westrup score for Sunderland too. The Lasses are back in action at the beginning of March when they welcome Southampton women to Eppleton Colliery Welfare Ground. We'll give you more information on that as we get it. That's your Sunderland headlines.
Smoggies and Proud. Borough News.
Good morning, beautiful Borough fans. Happy Monday. Well, Middlesbrough have won. Woohoo! Incredibly, in true Middlesbrough fashion. Heading to Leicester City, Borough was seemingly down and out. With the sales of important players and a season ticket hike, it all seemed doom and gloom at the Borough. But somebody tried telling that squad on the weekend. Borough dug deep and counter-attacked to perfection. Borough scoring twice in the first half to everyone's shock, with Sammy Silvera producing his best game in a Borough shirt and Lewis O'Brien reminding everyone, "Here I am." It was fantastic, breathtaking and emotional. Even before kickoff, Borough were brought more bad news with knee injuries to Johnny Howson and Hayden Hackney, with Carrick stating that both need scans and it doesn't look good. But this didn't seem to change the current squad led by shock captain Paddy McNair. Borough somehow found a way, Carrick found a way, and my goodness, it was delicious. Woohoo! Middlesbrough have also released a statement confirming they are investigating an alleged incident of racism from a supporter in the away end at Leicester City's King Power Stadium. Celebrations have somewhat been marred by a video that's now circulating on social media in the aftermath, which appears to show one Borough fan making racist gestures towards Leicester City supporters. Get it out. And finally, the Red Faction, a key supporter group of the Borough, have stated they plan to leave the ground at this weekend's match against Plymouth. The Red Faction released a statement on X that in protest to the increase to cost of season ticket prices, they will be walking out of the Riverside at the 30th minute mark this weekend's match against Plymouth. Well, a lot to talk about. A Borough beat Leicester. Get in. That's your headlines.
Magpies and Proud. Mags News.
Newcastle United will tell Manchester United they want £15 million to release Dan Ashworth from his 20-month gardening leave period to become the new sporting director at Old Trafford. Ashworth told his bosses at Newcastle on Sunday he wanted to leave the club after the approach by Sir Jim Ratcliffe to move to Manchester United. Newcastle responded by placing Ashworth on gardening leave. The Times newspaper also reported that Newcastle officials, furious at the manner of Manchester United's approach for Ashworth, immediately blocked any access the 52-year-old has to the club's computer and scouting programmes. Ashworth's gardening leave will last for 20 months unless Ratcliffe can broker a peace deal and a compensation figure to commence his employment before 2025. £15 million would be an unprecedented figure for a director of football, Sources say that without an agreement, Newcastle anger is such that they are prepared to bide their time and let Ashworth wait for more than a year and a half on gardening leave before he can begin the new role at Manchester United. Another goal feast at Gallagher on Saturday left Newcastle unbeaten in 4 Premier League games, but needing to come from behind twice to claim a point with an Anthony Gordon penalty and Matt Ritchie's first Premier League goal since 2020 grabbing a share of the spoils. In addition to the first team, Newcastle's under-18 and under-21 sides both had home fixtures on Saturday, kicking off simultaneously at 1 o'clock. The under-18s lost 2-1 at home to Derby, with Joe Brayson netting the consolation, whilst Ben Parkinson scored his 4th goal of the season in a 2-1 reverse against Liverpool. There was better news for the women's team, who made it 4 wins in a row, beating Derby County women 2-1 in the FA Women's National League Northern Premier Division, with goals from Beth Lumsden and Paige Bailey-Gale. That's your Newcastle headlines on Monday the 19th of February.
Right across the North East, the red, the cat and the tune.
What's up?
Welcome back. What's up already? What's happening?
Comes in from Daniil this morning.
Morning, Daniil.
Morning, gents. Does Rye have some South American ancestry? His goal reactions from Saturday reminded me of the Brazilian commentators at the '86 World Cup in Mexico. It was quite entertaining. Nevertheless, great show as usual.
Well, it was Ronnie Biggs.
Thank you, Daniil.
It's Ronnie Biggs who was actually
I've heard Rye does have a little Brazilian.
Yeah, me too.
I do like to keep a clean ship, that's for sure. No, let's break it down as we walk into that result on the weekend for the Borough. Now, look, I'm going to keep it sane. I wasn't going in with much hope. Last week was a bit doom and gloom. We're coming off the back of a pretty poor week in Borough's standards, losing Matt Crooks to Real Salt Lake in the MLS after the January window had closed, which we already saw Morgan Rogers leaving. So we were already a bit down and out with that. Then we see a season ticket price increase for next season, which got the fans absolutely shredding everything about the club over the weekend. In the lead up to the game. We lost to Preston midweek last week in a shocking performance once again from the team, and then we all knew it. We all kind of said it. Imagine, it's typical Borough to go to Leicester and probably get a win in a jokingly fashion. And we saw the lineup even before the lineup came out. I was getting messages and DMs saying obviously Hayden Hackney potentially has done a very bad knee injury. Same with Johnny Howson. We heard Michael Carrick saying they both need scans, and we'll find the full extent of them this week. But I mean, to hear that your captain and probably one of your best holding midfielders as both hurt their knees, you're just like, well, what else can go wrong? But somehow, Borough found a way. We came out with an interesting lineup. We started off with a back three, something that Michael Carrick last time deployed against Chelsea, and Aston Villa. We had Paddy McNair captaining us, which again was a bit of a shock. We've had Dale Fry and Johnny Howson mostly, but Paddy McNair took the armband this weekend, and we absolutely counterattacked with precision. Now, I'm not going to lie. Leicester City, once again, much like that Chelsea game, had plenty and ample of opportunities to score, but somehow they just couldn't break us down. It took some very good defending from Matt Clark, Vandenberg and Paddy McNair, but they also did scour a lot of chances. Middlesbrough would finish, obviously, behind in possession, which doesn't shock anyone, I don't think. We finished with 29% possession to Leicester's 71, just to show you the flow of the game. Leicester having 24 shots to Middlesbrough's 5, but we had 2 shots on target, as well as Leicester, who had 2 shots on target, and we made our 2 shots on target count, and that's what sometimes can win a game of football. I was thoroughly impressed with my Aussie, Sammy Silvera. I thought he was a fantastic display and a performance from him in a Borough shirt, if not his best. He was deployed as our striker. Obviously, we've been using Sam Greenwood, Azaz, even Marcus Force, but they weren't there. It was Sammy Silvera's chance, and he took it with open arms. I thought he was fantastic. He played with some confidence, some arrogance, which just showed exactly what he was showing here in the A-League. Riley McGree again, Finn Azaz, and Lewis O'Brien coming in saying, remember me, because here I am. And he was absolutely fantastic, setting up both goals as well. A fantastic team performance, a game where Michael Carrick got the tactics right. Now, in my doom and gloom, I must say I never doubted Carrick's ability. I always thought Michael Carrick was still a fantastic manager. I thought he still would be able to get tactically right. I think he's in for a massive future, and that weekend just cemented that even further for me. Even in our darkest hours, Michael Carrick can pull out a performance like that, and you saw in the post-match one of the best little videos I've ever seen of him doing the fist pump with the crowd, which was fantastic. Whereas we now have Plymouth this weekend. Whether it kickstarts our season again or it doesn't, I'm not too sure. I just think this weekend was a big, big needed win for the club with everything going on. And then, of course, we saw this disgusting nature of the racism video going around, which marred that celebration. And then we also had Red Faction now talking about this weekend's protest. Davey-Lad, we were in cahoots on the WhatsApp.
Indeed.
We were a bit down and out with starting off, but it didn't take long. Borough scoring first and then getting a second straight after that, which made us a little bit breathless, to say the least.
Yeah, and my post at 2-0 of I need oxygen has gone viral. So that's nice. Where'd you start? Absolutely wrote Borough off 100%. Look, I'm gonna be open. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I feared we'd get an absolute hammering. Mullering. Good word. I'll accept that Mackem word. A good mullering, and I really did, fear the worst for the Borough, particularly when we were hearing things like Hackney could be out for a long time. A lot of chatter on social media about that. And we didn't have Johnny Howson, who seems to be in big games. Johnny Howson seems to be one of a couple that rise to the occasion, and certainly going to Leicester, the way they're running away with the league was a massive game. So I had, it was the perfect recipe for a good mullering. And Leicester got the ball early. They were moving it about. They looked head and shoulders above anything. A bit like Burnley last year. They looked head and shoulders of anything that I've seen in the Championship this season. And then all of a sudden, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, we're 1-0 up. And I'm thinking, what on earth's happened here? You and I were passing messages backwards and forwards. I'm sorry for my... I must apologise live on the North East Footy Breakfast show here for my complete and utter amateurish display, my unprofessionalism by sending you messages while you were broadcasting, mate. I do apologise.
No, it was fine.
And it's 1-0 up, and I'm like, oh my hat, has this really happened? And then on 37 minutes it becomes 2-0 with Sammy Silvera, and I'm just like in complete disbelief. And at that point I was converted. At that point, I would be looking for headquarters of the cult that is typical Borough, and immediately the thoughts start springing to mind of can we just hold out till half time? Can we just hold out till half time? Which we did. And then the second half started, and I was behind the back of the settee, every now and again, just thinking, dare I even dream here? Dare I dream? And hoping, can we hold out until the hour mark? And then once we got past 60 minutes, 70 minutes, I'm thinking, this could happen. This really could happen. But what we've got to do is make sure Leicester don't score. And then we saw him come on, didn't we, as sub? And it's just like, oh my hat. Vardy's on. He looked hungry. And when that goal went in, it's just a case of, guys, I don't care. Carrick, don't care what you do now. Take off our entire forward line and just fill the back with 11 defenders. And what a fantastic result. The one thing that does irk me, though, and you've just mentioned it, so semi-irk there, right, is... when we played so well against Villa in the FA Cup, a lot of Villa fans took to social media and went, we missed loads of chances, like. And if we'd have had our shooting boots on, we'd have put them away easily, like. That was a very poor Brummie accent. And
no, it was good.
See, were they from Wales?
And then, indeed, boyo, and 5 wish you go get us, and drop us, go. Then when we played Chelsea and we beat them 1-0 at the Riverside in the League Cup, there's a lot of Chelsea fans went, we had our shooting boots on, we'd have put them away. We had loads of chances, we missed loads of chances. We went to Leicester and did the same, and the Leicester City fans, if we had our shooting boots on, if we put our chances away. This is a pattern that's developing when Borough take this formation to strong teams. So I think it's time that people take off their rose-tinted spectacles and start giving Borough some credit for disturbing, upsetting, annoying, putting off their game, strong forward lines. Because I think we're not the luckiest team in the Championship. Our injury record proves that. Our results against teams who sit bottom of the table prove that. So I think it's time to give the lads some credit from a neutral's perspective that we can upset, really powerful forward lines and good teams. And it just doesn't happen to be a one-off that your team doesn't have its shooting boots on that day. So well done to Michael Carrick, well done to Middlesbrough Football Club, and disgusting scenes as far as that racist woman was concerned on the video on social media.
Yeah, Teddy boy, Middlesbrough coming away with a fantastic win. I know I've cut you pretty short between now and the sports headlines. We will come back after this and get your thing. But I guess a quick summary of how you found Middlesbrough beating Leicester, the league leaders.
Yeah, obviously, Leicester Constabulary have been contacted about the robbery that took place.
I thought it was going to be a call in advance for the murder that was about to happen, but there you go, it didn't happen.
No, to be honest, well deserved, and I'm going to slightly agree with Radio Dad here in the fact that, all right, Leicester had 22 shots. They did have 22 shots, but you limited them to 5 shots on goal. Now, if you don't take your chances from those 5, that is not about you being unlucky. It's about you being incapable of putting your chances away. Middlesbrough had 2 shots on goal, scored them both. That's clinical. That is, and all right, possession-wise, you had 30% compared to Leicester's 70%. It doesn't matter how long you have the ball. It matters how many goals you score while you've got it. And anybody moaning about that from Leicester, I think it would be actually just sour grapes, because great performance from Middlesbrough. That's a typical battling away performance where you've upset the team that's going to walk away with the championship, but you've taken 6 points away from a very, very good side, and that gives Carrick and others something to build on for next season. Middlesbrough are capable of beating the top ends in that division. It's just depth in the squad required, and a little bit more investment and a little bit more faith in that squad. But yeah, fantastic win. Can't take that away from you.
What's that?
Oh, thank you. What's that?
Winging its way from Thailand, which I'm sure is sunny and hot and sweaty. Hello, gents. Great show as always. I hope you're all well. What a fantastic performance from the Borough to do a double over Leicester. It was definitely the best defensive performance this season. Vandenberg was absolutely a brick wall. What a weekend. Bring on Plymouth, up the Borough. Bam.
No, thank you, Bam. Thank you for getting in touch.
Morning, Bam.
Thank you for the WhatsApp messages. We're going to come right back after your sports headlines to talk more Borough and everything going on in the North East right after this.
Together across the North East.
The Tune, the Cat and the Red.
There we go.
Come on, really, you're going to do that, are you? For the benefit of listener land, Dave's just come out with a rude joke off air and then went straight into taking us back on air and expecting us to behave normally.
Would I do such a thing? Would I be so unprofessional?
Wow. Yeah, that caught my breath, that one. Welcome back to the... I'm going to have to... Oh, I'm coughing here. Welcome back to the North East Brekky Show.
We can sell subscriptions to the WhatsApp group we don't talk about and the off-air feed of this radio show.
Oh, my goodness. Look, we're discussing Borough, we've discussed Newcastle, we've discussed Sunderland as well. If you have missed any of that, you can always catch us after the fact on podcast, wherever you get your favourite podcasts, you can find us.
And the repeat on the repeat at 4 p.m, yeah?
You certainly can. After you drive home as well, you can have us in your ears. We're going to talk more about the Borough because there's been some unsavoury news that's come after the fact of that great win against Leicester. One was obviously the racism gesture made by a Borough fan. That went and did social media. It was revealed by a Leicester fan, and Borough have had to release a statement. Once again, a good win, marred by someone being absolutely inconsiderate and silly. Middlesbrough have had, not the first time, unfortunately, again this season, been marred by a racist incident. Stevie boy, it seems to be keep and always rearing its ugly head to the point now where we've got it again, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that's that we need in the game, but it's unfortunate that it's your club. Everyone seems to have, a minority of idiots who are in the game. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, every now and then they rear their ugly head, and that's what we've seen again at the weekend. And the club just need to ban them. It's as simple as that. If some of the behaviour is deemed inappropriate and an arrest can be made, then that's what needs to happen, and prosecution and something on a record. But yeah, I mean, disgusting to see, mate, and sadly tarnishes what was a great result for the Borough. But you're not alien to. You're not the only club that's going to suffer this. And it happens time and time again. We unfortunately cover this. It seems 3, 4, 5 times a season on the North East Footy Breakfast show, and yeah, it's just disappointing. We need to stamp it out, but it's always going to be there, sadly. And you can't blame the emotion of the occasion. You can't you can't see anything other than it's ignorance, and it needs, that person probably needs not only reprimanding but also needs some education. It's as simple as that.
Yep, no, completely agree. And Teddy, I don't want to spend too long on it because it's absolutely vile and disgusting, but the thing that shocked me, obviously, with the video as well was the kids right next to. If you haven't seen the video as well, but there were children present.
Yeah, honestly, I think we've spent enough time covering it now. Yes, we have to report on things like this. We've got a responsibility. When we're representing clubs and fans in the media, we've got a responsibility to talk about it and to absolutely slam it anytime it happens. Yeah. It's unacceptable behaviour, and what a role model that is for kids around, eh? I mean, an enjoyable trip like that and a fantastic result. And I honestly, we're mates, and I'm pleased for you. I'm pleased for Borough, because it's a big win, and you live as a football fan for those days where you get massive wins like that. But that kind of behaviour is just, it's needless, it's senseless. Anybody who knows this person, do us a favour and call her a prat from me as well, will you? It's disgusting. It's going to rear its head from time to time, of course it is, because unfortunately, villages no longer just have one idiot; they have multiples. But thankfully, still in the minority. And yeah, let's move on and talk about more positive things, lads. Like obviously your fans walking out after 30 minutes.
Unfortunately, we have to come back again. With some more, obviously, unsavoury news around the club. So the Red Faction, obviously, who are a massive part of the Borough, massive fan group as well. If you're part of the Borough, you know who the Red Faction are. Released the following statement as a group statement against the ticket price. It's called the Ticket Price Protest. Now, I will abbreviate. I won't read it out. It is quite long, but if you want to have a look, you can see Red Faction on Twitter or X. And for the full announcement. But it says, Red Faction are refusing to accept the recent announcement that season ticket prices will be increasing once again. Following the increase in ticket prices last season, the club had agreed that the group would be involved in discussions about this season's prices, but this did not happen. To protest, the fans are being priced out of supporting their local team. Red Faction will be leaving the Riverside Stadium on the 30th minute of this Saturday's upcoming home fixture against Plymouth Argyle. We're calling on fans who feel likewise from all areas of the ground to join us in this walkout to show the club they will miss out on by exploiting the loyalties of the supporters. Now, I am going to, I can't comment, and I think that's only fair, Borough fans. I live in Australia. I am red hot Borough fan through and through, and if I was over there, this would be affecting me, but it's not. So it's not fair for me to comment on that, but what I have done is some research here. Just to compare what it's like for a season ticket for Middlesbrough and what it would be like a season ticket for here in Australia for my team in the AFL, Adelaide Crows. Now, Adelaide Crows offer a premium package, a general admission package, and then it's like just an underage sort of package as well. So for the normal package, now, mind you, AFL play 24 games in a regular season. What does the championship have? 47. So, mind you, it is almost half, if not half, less than half of the games that the championship has to play. Adelaide Crows, to reserve a ticket at the Adelaide Crows home ground, Adelaide Oval, is $389 Australian. $389 Australian. Now, if I put the season ticket up here for Middlesbrough and what they're asking for 24-25, it would cost me for a season ticket at Middlesbrough in Australian $1,062.40. So you're going from the Adelaide Crows here, AFL, our biggest sport, of a season ticket of $389 to what Middlesbrough would be asking me of $1,000.62 Australian. Now that's obviously the conversion rates in full force. Mind you, the games are less and that, but it is a significant jump and it's a significant cost. I also, I think as well, the club obviously has, financial burden. It's a tough thing to run a football club in modern day. The walkout's going to affect the team, and I think after a great win, it's another thing that obviously, it's taking focus away from that. But I guess, Steve, you've been around long enough to see prices going up and down in the football landscape and what it costs to run a football club. How do you feel about the Borough fans staging the protest, 30th minute mark, deciding to leave the stadium this weekend?
Look, you've got to make a stand when the clubs start to take advantage of supporters, but only if all channels of communication have been exhausted, is what I would say. I'm a stalwart of campaigns against Newcastle United. I've been there, done it, got the cassock, and to be honest, it's one of those situations where you don't really want to do this, but if the fans feel strong enough, then it needs to be done. Supporters are the lifeblood of the football club, whether the football clubs like it or not. And without the support of Borough fans in the area and worldwide, the club is nothing. And you need to liaise with your supporters before you make changes to things as emotional as tickets. Newcastle are going to end up in the same position, and we will end up in the same position. There are going to be supporters, I could be one, who could end up being displaced because of corporates and increasing corporate areas at St James's Park. We'll come to that another day because we're focusing on Borough. But if all lines of communication have been exhausted on this topic, then I can see why they're doing it. Have they? I don't know. Has there been communication between any supporters association or club, between the club and the supporters groups? I don't know. If there has, what was it? And, has the door been shut? But I'd need to know a bit more about it. And you're coming at me with the news about a protest and fans walking out, which all again I think is the only way that supporters really can have their voice heard. But I would question, has the lines of communication been successful or not? And if they have, then surely they can continue that. If they haven't, then why haven't they? But I don't know enough about it to be able to say this is 100% the right thing to do. So what's the situation? Dave, do you know?
Only what I've read. I won't be walking out, and all my mates who were in touch with in WhatsApp groups and things like that over the last 24 hours, they've all been saying they're not walking out. And I know there's some fan groups who are signing up with Red Faction saying we fully support what Red Faction are doing. I think there's a bit more to this though, and then I'll give you my personal opinion, which will not go down well on Teesside. I think there's more to it because Red Faction also mentioned in their statement that I believe they'd arranged a meeting with Steve Gibson over the next few weeks where they were going to discuss this, and that meeting's been called off. So I think there's some angst on top of that as well, because they're not going to get to see Gibbo. Whether that has coloured their view on the season ticket issue and it's just thrown a bit of fuel onto their fire, their mini flare-filled fire, then possibly. So that's led to this statement. But the Red Faction, to me, are just childish football fans who tried to appear as a bunch of ultras, disguising their faces, yet everybody knows who they are. They provide, to their credit, they provide a brilliant atmosphere in the South Stand, in the Riverside, and I give them massive credit for the way they support the club on match day. However, these are the same guys who all decided to bring balaclavas into the Riverside one day, and flares, and bear in mind, pyro's a banned. There's now a 3-year stadium ban for anybody who lets off a pyro at the Riverside, and I believe it's a similar EFL ruling, or it could even be an FA ruling around English football. So these are the guys who brought in a big crowd surfing flag, had balaclavas in their pockets, and snuck a pyro in. They all hid under the surfer, put their balaclavas on, changed their position, and like overgrown children lit the pyro once the surfer had gone to say, ha ha ha, we've broken the rules. Then disappeared back under, after the flare had been extinguished, disappeared back under the surfer, changed their positions and took their balaclavas off, so they thought the club couldn't catch them. I mean, what sort of childish, immature behaviour is that by a bunch of ultra fans on display in front of 30,000 people in the Riverside? So I've got no sympathy for Red Faction. I do agree football's got to be affordable. But if they would grow up and behave and support the borough in a responsible way, I could support their actions. I really could. But when they're doing things like that, I can't. So, great. Walk out, lads, on 30 minutes. Miss an hour of football. I won't be following you. To the club and the cost of season cards, I am thinking twice about renewing now. I've got 2 season cards, and I am looking at that price hike, and I'm thinking, can I afford that? Well, probably I could, but do I really want to be paying that much money? Now, the Borough last year, I know you did your research, right? The Borough last year were the 3rd highest season ticket priced team in the championship. I think only Norwich, was it last year or the year before? Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday were more expensive.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
I know there's some fans have been doing their research on season ticket price renewals. And I saw something, and I don't know whether this is true because I haven't spent the time, and I've got no interest in doing the time to ratify it. But they were saying there's only 5 clubs in the Premiership that actually charge more for season tickets than Borough will charge for the Championship next season. I don't know whether that's true or not, but a football club like Middlesbrough loses money hand over fist. They've got to cover their costs. They do not make a profit. And it's part of the reason why we've seen the strategy of the Borough change in recent years. We are now looking for young players we can develop, we can invest in their development, then we can sell them at a profit because all that goes into the bottom line to make the club sustainable. So the club obviously feel because of higher wage prices, national wage, the national living wage going up, they have to pay staff more. We've all seen what's happened with interest rates going up, the cost of living going up as a result. They've decided they have to charge more. Rightly or wrongly, they've decided they have to charge more. And it's down to the fans to look at this and think, can we afford to go, can we not? If you can't afford to go, you don't go. If you can afford to go, you go. I don't know another business who raises their price in this world that goes to their customers first and saying, we're thinking of putting our prices up. What do you think? All right, football's about community. I get there could be that. Steve's got a point. Were the conversations held between club and fans? Probably not on this issue. The communication lacked absolutely, and the Borough had to do a U-turn on the very short notice that they initially gave. Will they do a U-turn on the prices? I don't think so.
Teddy boy, your thoughts on this situation? Obviously, with Red Faction staging a protest, walking out 30th minute mark this weekend against Plymouth.
Just to get a kind of almost a balanced view on this, how many season ticket holders do you have, guys?
I think we had didn't we have about 22,000 or something last year? I could be wrong, but it's around there. It's in the 20s.
Okay, so it's a good number. First of all, I don't think it's too dissimilar to what Sunderland have. To be honest, it's definitely over the 20,000 mark. I know that much. So it's a good portion of people who go to the games. I mean, what you're talking probably about 2/3. Now, for me, not every one of those season ticket holders is going to be on board with the idea of walking out on 30 minutes because people have differing opinions. That's why we end up with football shows like this. So not everyone's going to fancy that. If by some freak chance Middlesbrough are 3-0 up after 29 minutes, do you think people are still going to walk out even though they were going to initially? Probably not, because Borough would be on fire and you want to stay in and watch games like that. So there's all sorts of circumstances attached to this where it just might fall completely flat anyway. I'm also in the camp that believes that fan groups should have open, clear, honest dialogue with the clubs. Now, as much as I've got my own opinions about these fan groups anyway, and it did take 7 days after the meeting with the Sunderland ones for the statements to actually come out and declare what was discussed in those meetings. However, it was a meeting that took place all the same, and therefore healthy dialogue is recommended and things like that. Looking at the prices, it's quite an eye-watering price. I'm looking at an average here. Yeah, you're right. Middlesbrough third in the Championship, £520 the average cost. That's in.
That was last year, was it?
Yeah, last year's. Yes,
570 is the cheapest early bird renewal. That's not the normal price, but that is the early bird renewal price. 570 becomes more than that if you're the first time early bird buyer. Yeah,
and that is when you start and have a little bit of a problem there, because that's an awful lot of money. Especially, there's not many people just buy a season ticket kind of on their own. There's families go to games and things like that. Like you're saying, Dave, you're in that as well, where you're a multiple season card holder, and it's what is it? It's about £25 a match, isn't it? Roughly, that works out as,
and that's what the club do point out. I've been I helped form the Middlesbrough supporters forum. I'm no longer a member of that, but I helped start that group up, and Red Army TV, as we used to have, was a founding member of that group, and the club would always point that out, that season ticket, because it's a hot potato every year. Season ticket prices make it affordable to go if you do it on a match by match basis, where I think at the moment it would be about £32 if you went to buy a ticket just to walk up, and it works out about £26-27 if you buy a season card.
Mm-hmm. It's what we've discussed many times on here now. It's starting to price working class people out of the game, and it's working class people who built the game. Teesside, very, very similar to Wearside in the fact that former industrial town, not the greatest income in the world, it has to be said, in terms of average income, and it's those people who I feel sorry for, who've endured the worst of times watching their clubs. And to see that's a big slap in the face for a lot of fans to take. That actually becomes an issue whereby if they do accept that and pay for their next season ticket, they're going to have to do without other things. At this time when the cost of living is absolutely insane, to hike it up by that amount, I just think is really bad taste. There's progress being made at Middlesbrough, absolutely, on the pitch. I do believe that. However, there's not enough there for me to sanction an increase of that much. It's not like, all right, we've signed 8 new players, we've got to bring the money in somehow, guys, can you get behind it? They've sold players, not replaced them, and now asking for more money out the fans. It just, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like that almost show of disrespect to football fans. It remains to be seen what Sunderland do with theirs, mind. I mean, last season, I think we're around about 470, which on the grand scheme of things isn't too bad. But yeah, I just think that's a big slap on the face for Borough fans, and I can see why there is unrest among supporters with it. I think it's a 6% increase. I think is it a 6% increase that they've slapped on? What was it, Rai? What was the number?
It is.
Sorry, I thought you'd know off the top of your head.
No, it's 6%.
6%, right. And the club's argument is it's to match the cost of living increase.
Yeah, it's 6%. And season tickets sold for this season were 20,538, as last reported 2 months ago. So that was where
Steve Gibson spent 6% more on players.
Well, the club is saying they spend 6% more on everything. And
it's just the timing of it, lads. It's the timing of it. That's the problem.
Well, I think what really
think about the timing.
Yeah, and I think the big problem for me when that announcement was made, and look, I'm a fan like the rest of them, and what I was unhappy with was when it was communicated, they said, and by the way, you've got the end of the month to buy them, effectively. Or you've got 4 weeks. It was 4 weeks, I think, to buy them. Then the prices go up, which meant it was one paycheck away. So fans suddenly had to dig deep to find this increase of 6%, but also had to find it knowing there was only one paycheck going to drop in. And the fans protested that, and the club made a U-turn on that and said, "Okay, we'll push back that deadline."
Yeah.
Look, it's hard. It's hard for me. I mean, obviously, I'm the other side of the world. I don't have to pay for season tickets. I pay 100 and something odd pound for that Borough Live subscription. And I only get a certain amount of games. It's hard for me to go either way. And I think it's something that it's just upsetting for that on the weekend that when I like to sit down and talk with the Borough fans, and for the one chance I get in the week that it'll be about this sort of thing, but I'll still be doing the watch along, and I'll still be cheering on the boys and doing what I can from the other side of the world. But I feel so far away sometimes when stuff like this happens. I wish I could be there to just be more involved. But
good morning, gents.
Almost wraps us up. Dazzy boy.
Hi, Daz.
Good morning. How are we doing, gentlemen?
What a win, Daz!
What a win indeed. I mean,
mate,
it just lifted that sort of air of doom and gloom that has been around,
didn't it?
And a little bit more positivity.
Yeah.
A little bit more positivity about the club, but I mean, there's still issues and concerns that you've just been talking about, but I mean, what a win. No one saw.
Are you a
this
season
coming.
ticket holder, Daz?
I share one with the good lady wife and my two boys. And it like Dave said earlier, we're rethinking what we do for next year because it is a lot of money. Whether we've been season tickets holders for for a long time on and off, but certainly the last sort of 15 years with the boys. Sort of started taking them when the family zone was first established. We've invested a lot into the club. We're big Borough fans, but I won't be walking out this weekend. I'm not sure that's the right way of doing it with the Red Faction.
You think many fans will join them, that aren't part of the Red Faction?
And can I just rephrase that question, Rai? I hope you don't mind. Daz, have you heard any of your mates saying they're going to walk out?
No one's said that to me, and I've chatted with a few over the weekend once this thing came out. Chatted with my lads. I don't think this is going to get much traction. They might do it, and good luck to them. Is that the right way to
They lost my respect when they did that pyro stunt. They lost my respect completely. And I was close to these lads. I've refereed them in football matches when they've had charity games. I've got a lot of time for some of the lads, but no, my respect went when they did that pyro stunt.
Yeah.
Is it that noticeable when players walk out the Riverside? Because it's never full anyway, is it?
Says him.
Do you know what? As soon as Rai got onto the subject, I was waiting for that line from Ted. Thank you for being
and
so
good night.
late.
UK, you've been brilliant.
Oh, wow. Well, look forward to Ted's show tomorrow. I'm going to be interrupting it all morning. Don't you worry about that.
Do you know what it is?
That's it for us.
I've got a 5-hour flight to write that as well.
I'm happy to. You let me know, and I'm happy to do it again. By the way, it's all good. Happy Monday, you beautiful listeners across the North East. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
What's up? Just coming in. What's up? Lara. No, it's Lara. Lara, first time WhatsApper. Welcome, Lara.
Good morning.
I think there was no marketing strategy behind it. No thank you to the fans for the continued support. Just this is the price. It's Lara in sunny Thorpe Fields. Oh, very nice village. Used to live in Bishopton.
Thank you for that,
just
Lara.
across a couple of fields.
A sensible opinion.
Indeed.
Very good.
Thank you for that, Lara. And now you can say goodbye, Rai.
Well,
Goodbye,
we'll be back tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of your Monday. Enjoy the mid-morning with Daz.
Cheers.
We will talk more Northeast shenanigans tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
See ya.
Ta-ta, lads.